Our movie today begins with Young, who has a stage performance. But 5 minutes before the show, she discovers that her mom forgot to put the new shoes in her bag. She calls her, fights with her, and tells her, "You're always busy and prioritize work over me." The mom tries to apologize and says, "Next time I'll focus more." But unfortunately, there is no next time, because 2 minutes after the call ends, she gets into a major car accident. The ambulance arrives quickly, but sadly, she dies before reaching the hospital. Of course, Young doesn't find out until later because she's busy with the performance and doesn't see her phone ringing non-stop. A year after the accident, we see Young running late to school. She barely has time to wash her face, and her life seems chaotic and messy. Still, despite everything, her classmates envy her life. Some envy her because she eats and doesn't gain weight, others because she gets her mother's pension from the company and doesn't pay school fees. She's basically winning in all aspects. But the one who hates her the most at school is Nari, her rival in stage performances. She believes Young is getting more credit than she deserves and isn't that talented. We then move to the school principal, who tells the dance choreographer that she'll now be in charge of the art school because she's diligent and the most capable of raising the girls' performance. She goes straight to the training hall to test all the girls one by one, but finds that most of them are doing the movements completely wrong, especially Nari, who gets scolded harshly since she's supposed to be the lead dancer and should make no mistakes. In the end, after losing hope in them, she tells the trainer to focus on only 2 dances, and the rest will be cut from the show. The trainer is upset and says, "But we've been training for months and worked really hard." The new director replies coldly, "Effort without skill is meaningless, and my word is final. Also, come see me later to change the playlist." At night, the girls leave in their cars, except for Young, who walks home because she simply doesn't have a car. We learn that she's drowning in debt, even to the pharmacy. When she finally gets home, the place is a mess, but she can't clean up because she trains all day and barely gets any sleep before heading back to school. After a bit, her landlord calls her saying, "You're like a daughter to me, but rent is our only income. Please vacate the apartment within a week. Maybe stay with a relative instead of living alone." She returns home, burdened, because that house is the only thing that still reminds her of her mom. Eventually, she decides to sell unnecessary things and take on part-time jobs during holidays to make some money. But Nari still hates her for no reason. She even turns people away from Young, just so they'll hang out with her instead. Still, Young has her own problems and doesn't care. One night after everyone leaves, the new director is walking around the school to make sure everyone's gone. She finds Young sitting in a corner, eating. She asks, "What are you doing here this late?" Young replies, "Eating dinner I haven't eaten since morning." The director says, "I'm not talking about dinner. I'm talking about those bags. Are you sleeping here or what?" Young apologizes and says she was kicked out of her house and has no relatives or friends or anywhere to go. The director goes to verify her info and finds only her mother's name listed as a relative, and she's been dead for a year. She recalls the day of the performance and returns to tell Young, "Grab your bags and follow me." Young asks for a moment to gather her things. On the way, the director asks, "Don't you have friends you can stay with for a while?" Young replies, "Only one, and he's a guy. Hotels don't take underage girls. Besides, I'm a very light sleeper. Even the light switch wakes me up. The studio is actually the best place for me. Can we go back?" The director yells, "Shut up for a bit and let me think." But deep down, she feels sorry for her and decides to take her home. When they reach the house, Young says, "Why is the password so long? Are you hiding a crocodile inside?" The director answers, "No, it's to stop vagrants like you from memorizing it." She warns, "If you keep talking, the door will lock and I won't open it again." Young is shocked by how beautiful and clean the house is. The director takes her downstairs to a large hall and tells her, "If you're going to stay here, you must follow the rules. 1. Don't go anywhere except the permitted areas. 2. Don't act on your own. 3. Most importantly, no questions." Young exclaims, "Wow, all these mirrors. Is this hall yours alone? You must be rich to have such a big house." The director snaps, "You talk too much. I'm leaving. Go sleep." Young sets up her tent in the hall, places a photo of her mom beside her, and falls asleep. The next day, she wakes up starving and looks for food, but finds only a few bottles in the fridge. How can a huge house like this not even have a cheese sandwich? Huang, the director, catches her and asks, "What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at school?" Young replies, "No, it's Saturday." Huang gives her a green liquid that looks like alfalfa juice. Young hesitates but takes a sip and is horrified by the taste. It's like orphan tears. She asks, "Haven't you heard of carbs? They're really nice and actually edible." Huang says, "That's what I have. Now clean up your mess." Young grabs tissues and wipes the table quickly, then heads to work, hoping the last meat dish doesn't sell because she wants to take it home before it expires at 11. But a rich guy comes and buys it 1 minute before. Young doesn't want to sell it and tells him it expires in 50 seconds. It's dangerous. He says, "Is it going to explode in my face? I'm buying it." Later, a new shipment of meat arrives, and they find it's way over the ordered amount. They don't remember who added the extra 0. Eventually, they agree to split the surplus among themselves. Young takes her share and tries to sell it to anyone. She even goes to the pharmacy and offers it with a big discount. The pharmacist tells her, "I'm vegetarian. I don't like meat." She yells at him, "Not my problem. Give it to your friends." He replies, "Why did you stop buying from me? Found another pharmacy before paying your dues?" She says, "Actually, I moved. I'm living in the witch's castle being tortured with arugula juice, but I got paid today. So tell me how much I owe you." He says $111. She hands him $1 and says, "Okay, only $110 left. I'll pay $1 each month. Bye." As the final performance approaches, tension rises, and the girl's performance level begins to drop instead of improve. Huang tells them that training will continue during the winter break, and before the final show, there will be individual auditions. Anyone who doesn't qualify won't perform on stage again. However, the trainer believes this is wrong and goes to talk to her, saying, "This will demoralize the girls who make mistakes." But Huang replies, "Individual skill is essential and critical to the group performance." Later, she receives a phone call from the Mother and Child Welfare Center. They tell her that the girl she had inquired about has no legal guardian and must now be placed under alternative care. As soon as she leaves the company, she finds Young waiting outside. She tells her, "I'll drop you at the station. Go home. I have plans with you later." She writes down a password for her, but Young says, "I memorized it, don't worry." Later, Huang goes to a restaurant with her boss. It's obvious from her face that she's there unwillingly and hates everyone around, especially Nari's mom, who keeps bragging about her money and says, "I'll start a company for my daughter the moment she graduates." She also claims her daughter looks like Huang and is as talented. But as soon as she goes to the bathroom, everyone at the table changes tone and starts gossiping about her, saying she's lonely, stuck up, and has nothing going for her but her stage talent. None of us have even seen her smile. Huang knew from the start that everyone at that table was two-faced. She grabs her jacket and says, "Sorry, I have a lot of work to do at the office," and leaves so they can continue gossiping freely. When she gets home, she finds Young preparing dinner for her, looking very happy. She says, "Come on, just have a bite or two." But Huang is furious and snaps, "Who told you to do all this?" Young apologizes and says, It's your birthday today and I wanted to do something small for you, but anyway, I'm sorry. Huang feels guilty and sits to eat with her. During their conversation, Young says she used to make this soup especially for her mom on her birthday, since it's the one thing she knows how to make really well. The next day, Young packs her bags, since as agreed, it's her last day. But Huang remembers what the welfare center told her, that Young must be under alternative care. Young rushes to unpack and gets in the car with Huang to go to school. There, Huang begins evaluating the girls. If someone isn't professional, she sends her to the back and moves someone else forward until the lines are properly arranged. When Young goes to change, she opens her locker and finds a picture of her mother torn up. Someone did it deliberately. She gets very upset and heads to the pharmacy to talk to Dr. Dong. She says to him, "Do they hate me because I'm poor and don't have any family? But those things are out of my control." He replies, "Why did you pick those two traits specifically? And why do you think they hate you? Maybe they're just jealous. Jealous because you don't gain weight, or because you're cheerful and optimistic despite everything. But this time, it's different." She's really overwhelmed and ends up crying hard until she gets exhausted and falls asleep on the spot. Dr. Dong takes her phone and calls Huang to let her know. As soon as Huang finds out, she rushes over and doesn't calm down until she sees Young sleeping peacefully. Later, Huang takes Young to a restaurant to treat her to her favorite food. She asks, "Why do you dance?" Young replies, "Because my mom liked it and I like it too, I guess. But it's no big deal. When I graduate, I'll quit and not major in dance like the other girls." Huang responds, "But if you really love it, then you should give it your all. Keep pushing until you either shine or realize it's not for you." After a few days, the winter holiday begins. The teacher wishes them all a happy break and tells them to enjoy it as much as they can, because next year will be their graduation year. During the break, the whole school is on vacation, except for the senior class, including Nari, who are required to continue training for the show, as Huang instructed. She also keeps showing up regularly to supervise and train them. With time, Huang lets Young eat whatever she wants, while she sticks to her juice. A few weeks later, Young visits her mother's grave before the final rehearsal and promises to do everything she can to make her proud. On the evaluation day, the committee praises her and notes a significant improvement in her performance. This, of course, upsets Nari a lot, to the point that it affects her own performance. She becomes completely distracted. Still, the trainer gives her a second chance, even though the rules say every person gets only one. When Nari fails again and asks for a third attempt, Huang tells her, "You've already had 2 chances. That doesn't happen on a real stage. The audience won't allow it. Let what happened today be a lesson so you can focus better. Don't concern yourself with anyone else." After the auditions end, the girls invite Young to go out with them that evening, unless she has work. She says, "Sure, I don't mind, but Nari isn't coming, right?" They reply, "No, Nari doesn't like rice cake." But at that exact moment, Nari suddenly appears from nowhere and says, "Who said that? I love rice cake." She storms over to argue with Young and says, "Everything seems so unimportant to you." Young responds, "And you're blowing everything out of proportion. I don't get it. What justifies you being this spiteful? Fine, I'm poor and ugly. I don't care. Why do you care so much?" Nari shouts back, "Just having you in the same space with me drives me crazy." That's when the other girls step in and say to Nari, "You're scared she's going to take your place, aren't you?" So she starts fighting with them too, and the fight escalates. After the chaos, the director gathers them all to hear each girl's side of the story. Everyone says that Nari has been aggressive ever since the committee dropped her from the show. They were all scared to even talk to her. Nari, in tears, tells the director that she just wanted to do well and succeed, but she doesn't know what went wrong. It's just so discouraging. Later, there's a meeting with the mothers of all the girls. Each one leaves with her daughter, except for Young, who remains standing, waiting. When she sees that Huang hasn't come out, she quietly walks away alone. Then we see Nari's mom going to her and saying, "Don't worry, I'll fix everything. They can't cut you from the performance. They can't do anything without you. This is all because of that silly girl." But Nari says, "No, everything that happened was my fault. She has nothing to do with it." Her mom insists, "What do you mean, your fault? You don't make mistakes, and even if you did, that silly girl still doesn't deserve to be in the company." At that moment, Nari breaks down and says, "I did everything I could for you, but I can't live this life you've planned out for me anymore. I want to live my own dreams. You're doing all this because you want me to achieve what you couldn't, because you failed to become the lead dancer back then. It was all because of Huang. She had everything. But what does that have to do with me? I tried so hard, but I can't anymore." She leaves her mother and walks into the street. But even in the street, she's not left alone. A group of girls comes to harass her and pick a fight. But then Young shows up to defend her and says, "Back off from my friend before I lose it and knock you all out." She grabs Nari and tries to walk away, but the girls beat them both up and leave them lying on the ground. After that, Young asks her, "Why do you hate me so much? You're beautiful, talented. Your mom is rich. Why do you resent me?" Nari says, "I'm jealous because you live freely, the way you want, without anyone forcing you. You're always cheerful and confident." Young replies, "But it's all just an act. You don't know how lonely I really am or how hard my life is." From that moment on, their relationship shifts from enmity to friendship. Young encourages Nari to apologize to the other girls the next day. Later, they go together, led by the teacher, to the director and to Wang to apologize and beg that the performance not be cancelled. Wang says, "All right then, don't waste time. Go rehearse. The show is next week." Over the next few days, they prepare to deliver the best performance in the history of the company. Their new spirit of joy and mutual understanding drives them forward after realizing that everyone has their own personal struggles. They just hide them to survive. Sometime later, we see Miss Huang having become Young's official legal guardian. She now makes her cook breakfast every day by force, until Young gets fed up and says, "You know what? Just go back to your cucumber juice already. I regret getting used to real food." And that's where the movie ends. If you made it to the end, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if it's your first time watching, so you don't miss anything new.